And he actually thought I wanted to help him. I said, idiot.
Hello. Welcome to the Do's and Don'ts of social networking. People every day are trying to steal your personal information for their benefit. If you had a $100 bill, would you put it on the floor and just walk away from it? No, you would protect it. Not just leave it out where anyone can get it. Your identity is just one of the things that you put at risk when you irresponsibly use social networking.
Oh, okay, wait. Look, I have like a whole, I have like 3 whole pages of
Here we see these girls trying to friend people whose information they have already stolen. Once they friend you, they gain the rest of the information that they need to apply for credit cards, loans, and even buy a car and charge it to you. If you share your phone number, address, and employer, someone has enough information to attempt to steal your identity. But your identity is not the only thing that crooks are after. Don't post vacations, trips, or times you'll be away from your house. What you say is,
I'm heading to the mountains for the weekend. Snow, sun, and fun.
And what they hear is,
Dear criminal, I'll be gone for your robbing convenience. Friday night to Sunday night.
Identity theft isn't the only potential hazard. Did you know that it is likely that your phone or your child, brother, or sister's phone stamps every photo that you take with time and location? So if your valued 12-year-old takes a pic and posts it, this is what she says.
At the movies waiting for my ride. It's a pretty day out, and boy am I hungry.
What psycho-pedophile predator hears is,
Dear Mr. Creeper, I'm all alone at this exact location within the next 15 minutes. Bring a snack and you can lure me near your scary van with the windows painted black.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, going to cookie?
Yeah.
I would have my left, but I asked for my van over there. You want to get some cookies over there?
Okay.
It's also important to remember that once you hit send, the magic interwebs fairy whisks away your picture, post, or information and makes it available to the whole world.
Hey, this is Bobby. This is Mr. Iguana was in?
Bobby, hold on, let me check. Sir, Bobby's on the line for you.
Again? Hello?
Oh, Mr. Iguana. I'm sorry I couldn't make it into work today. I'm on my deathbed, I feel like.
You know you called in, like, for the past 2 days?
I'm feeling weak. I need to go lie down. Bye-bye now. Sucker. Let's party! That lying sack of...
If you call it sick or disappointment, it might not be the best thing for you to show your boss that you're actually just skipping to do something else. Be sure the truth will find you out. I know you've heard what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, except herpes. That comes back with it. Well, if most your party fest administrations online, it could have jeopardized your future. Did you know that most universities and colleges have full-time employees who research applicants online? What would they find about you? We took the liberty of hacking into the Facebook accounts of some of Southeastern Technical College's students and found some very incriminating things. Let's take a look. Just kidding. If you post party dates, remember, it could keep you from being high enough or being accepted into the college you want to go to.
I'm a driven, talented, smart, hard worker. I have a good work ethic and a strong moral core. I'm always at work on time and ready to go. I led extra athletics and many high school teams.
Remember, a picture is worth 1,000 words. You and your friends written the same pictures about your life.
If you have children, be careful what you allow people to know. Our friend puts,
Heading out of town tonight. Don't stay up too late and trash the house, girls. Remember, no parties.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this. This is going to be so fun. I know. I'm so glad it's gone.
what Mr. Creeper hears is,
My little girl and her friend are going to be alone in night clothes, having pillow fights and doing makeovers. Please feel free to watch them through the window, as I will not be there to catch you.
make your profile private. Friend only people you know. Protect your vital information. Protect your family and property by keeping locations and agendas secure. I know it may sound like a lot to do, but the reputation you save could be your own.
On behalf of the Student Leadership Council of STC, welcome to our social media lunch and learn. The video is provided by our auditorium director, Julie Busby, and the Franklina Playhouse. Thanks for that funny skit on social media. Our speaker today is Ms. Kristen Baker. Ms. Baker is the social media marketing manager of the Georgia Department of Labor. She has been with the department for the last 3.5 years working on areas of marketing and communications. Upon realizing the need for the Georgia Department of Labor to build an online presence via social media, Ms. Baker implemented and currently maintains the department's social media presence, such as Facebook, Twitter, and is currently preparing to launch the department's LinkedIn page. For more information on the work Ms. Baker is currently doing, log on to www.dol.state.georgia.us. In the meantime, please help me in giving a warm welcome to Ms. Kristen Baker.
Hello, can everyone hear me? Great. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for joining me here and inviting me to Vidalia. This is my first time, and I'm elated to be here, so we just have a short amount of time, so I'll definitely get started. Hopefully, I'll be able to get some good interaction. So I noticed there's not a lot of few individuals in the front, so feel free to come down some if you'd like. We'll be speaking about employers versus employees. Who's winning in social media? In today's society, social media, is a win-win for us all, and there's several different ways you can approach social media from the employer perspective and from the employee. Now, everyone in here, I presume we're all job seekers. Are there any employers in here? Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. So that takes us to our first slide. And I'll be discussing just several things today. Facebook, then and now. Delete is obsolete. Clean it up or clear it out. How do employers get this stuff? Your posts, their perception, as well as favorable Facebook, an eye shot away. Which takes us to our first slide here. This is a gentleman who is is presumably late for work. So he jumps out of bed. I'm late for work. My boss is going to fire me. How will I survive? Wait a minute. I am a freelance journalist who works at home. I'm my own boss. And that is how I'd like you guys to view yourself, as your own boss. You are freelance journalists who work from home. Within interacting on social media, you are a journalist. What you say, people listen. You know, they listen to the things that you have to say. The information that you're putting out there is accurate to you or to whomever, but they're interested, and that's why they're following you on Facebook. That's why they're engaging with you on your pages. So you need to be mindful that you are your own boss and you are always working for yourself. With that being said, you're representing yourself. The content that you put out there, that's representing you. So when employers view that and when they view us, the information that we're putting into all of the content, the images, that is how we want to be perceived, presumably, because we're allowing that information to go up to be known. So hold on to that thought that you work for yourself, you are your own journalist. And with that being said, you're responsible for any information that you put out there, whether it be for better or for worse. And for better, that's a positive. Now for worse, there are consequences that come with that. But being as though you've committed to be a journalist into the Facebook universe, the social media universe, and today we're speaking primarily on Facebook. However, this goes across the line for all social media forums, all social media interaction and engagement. So for better or for worse. So now you're a journalist, you've committed to being a journalist, you want to engage, you want to interact, you want to get your information out there. Now be mindful, for better or for worse, you're responsible for what goes out there. And when you think for better or for worse, what do you think? Marriage. You think that you're getting married. So now you're a journalist, you're going to be responsible for better or for worse, any information that goes out there. Now you're married. You've made a commitment to Facebook. You are committed. You're committed to putting all of your information out there. Generally, for the women, it's usually, we're getting married. And for the men, sometimes it's, wow, great, thanks for letting me know. However, this is a commitment that you've made. Now, when you're married, so you got your career going, you're a journalist, you're going to be responsible for better or for worse. Now you've gotten married. So what generally comes after marriage? Children, absolutely. That will be next. And once you have a child, I have a child, and there's no letting go of these children. Once they're there for life. They will follow you wherever you go. With that being said, I want you to, for this 1 hour, and take it with you as you go, your children are your images, all of your content that you're putting out there, these are your children. You've committed to get married to Facebook. You've also committed to being a journalist, and you like being a journalist because people like to hear what you have to say. That's why you're engaging. If they didn't, you wouldn't. So you enjoy that. You enjoy your contribution to the Facebook universe. But be mindful that these are your children. All of your status updates, all of your images, all of your videos, and they will follow you wherever you go. Okay, now I presume how many in here have a Facebook page? I have one, whether it's personal or business. What are some examples that you may put up on your page? Anyone? Right here, ma'am. Anyone? Example of any content you put up on your page? Pictures. Pictures? Okay, great. Well, we have 2 posts here that I found, and we'll name this gentleman here. We'll say this is Bob. And he's here at soccer, super early. Maybe I'll go get a new ball. Okay, not so bad. Then we have the second post. My medical condition of hating people is severely acting up tonight. Slightly inappropriate. Then we have another one. On a happier note, I feel better just running around my apartment naked after a shower and fixing me some din-din, LOL. Now, view yourself as the employer at this point. It's kind of funny, but as you're laughing, so are the employers, you know? And this is really hindering your chances or anyone's chances of getting great employment. And this is how you're being perceived. So we have another one, and I love this guy, Alex. I hope Alex is not in the room anywhere. Because that would be really bad for him. And Alex says, and we'll bleep out his last name, obviously. My friends are the pets. Okay. Now, this is his profile. This is representing him, the content that he's putting up there. Rose wants to know why. Oh, what happened? Well, Alex, long story. My parents went out of town. I drank too much. When I passed out, they all left me in front of the police station with a sign that said, I'm a werewolf, and locked me up, grounded for 2 months, MIC, and community service. Dana says, no way, you know, so sorry to hear that. But it's funny, though, because this is his friend. She thinks it's funny. It has nothing to do with her. This is not hindering her chances in employment or her reputation, not for now, at least. And then Mark says, well, he did it because he was talking about Twilight all night. So this is funny. However, not to an employer who's trying to get candidates to represent their company. And let's see, I believe we have okay. This here, very vital to remember. When you're posting your content on there, you really want to remember, through every one of your expressions determines and alters their expressions. They're referring to the employers and the public. Can anyone kind of guess where I'm going with this here? Okay. Well, pardon me?
Person.
Absolutely, absolutely. Through your expressions, meaning, you know, your fun night out, or you with the K, or you with the beer in your hand, or you, maybe, and it may not be inappropriate to yourself, but you do have to view it from a professional level. So through every one of your expressions comes their expression, how they are viewing us as the job seekers, how they're viewing us, you know? And I know some of you may be students now, however, you will be job seekers soon. So you really want to work on building that healthy profile and relationship for yourself when you're getting out there into the working field. And on the next slide, if I'm not mistaken, will be a video here. And in this video, I'm going to show you, there's a young lady by the name of Dunya, and then there's an employer in the video. So there's two key concepts I want you to see if you can pull out from Dunya's perspective and then from the employer's perspective as well. It's about
Dunya Arcane is a college sophomore. She has a stellar resume and an Ivy League education.
I've applied for an analyst job.
She also has a profile on Facebook.com, like millions of other college students.
It's pretty much hiding pictures, right? It's true. I mean, I hope that employers aren't looking at it.
Bad news.
Just said part of me.
They are.
Are you going personally and looking at the people you might hire? Are you checking them out this way?
Absolutely. Everybody does.
Tim DeMello runs his own internet company. He estimates 20% of employers are secretly scanning online profiles before they interview applicants. And what they find is often shocking. Profiles detailing drug use, orgies, and illegal behavior.
They come in, they're buttoned up, their resume's polished, their clothing is, meticulous. This person that's sort of sitting there is almost an entirely different person than the person sort of posting up a profile on some of these websites.
Many employers admit they've even learned how to access profiles students think are private. And they're surprised by how many students don't care if everyone knows everything about them.
How much can a Facebook profile really tell an employer when they're just looking at pictures of college girls meet? I don't know.
But what most students don't realize is all those party snapshots make up their online footprint. And that's going to fall them well beyond sorority row. Take Dunya's profile. It doesn't show anything lewd or illegal, but still.
Within a short period of time, you would find these 83 photos in every search engine on the web, and they can be 83 photos attached to your name for the rest of your career.
And while some of her photos may be cute,
that's like,
she's so secret. Some don't exactly scream CEO material.
Some of these sites out there are going to be the most expensive free websites in their career that they've ever seen.
It could have cost Dunya a job.
I think I have other candidates I'd probably talk with.
I really don't think employers should be basing their sole opinion of me on the Facebook profile that I created. All that being said, when you start the interview, do you think you'll edit it?
Perhaps. If you're supposed to dress for the job you want, employers say some of these students really need to just put something on. Sharon Alfonsi, CBS News, Boston.
Okay, now, can anyone tell me 2 points from the employer? Just name a few from the employer and then from the job seeker. Maybe vital points that they were making that could be beneficial to you. Anyone?
Pictures out there everywhere.
Yes. Yes, absolutely, absolutely, yes.
They might think that if you're partying all the time, you have to go on lunch break.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we'll come back to that. What coincides with your post is their perception, which we'll go over. Let's see. So what I wanted to tell you was that the two main things from the employer is, one, he said that absolutely every employer are viewing your Facebook pages. When they receive, you know, your applications, they're viewing your pages. So that's vital to know. And then secondly, he said that after viewing her social networking activity, he may possibly go with another candidate. So, you know, as a job seeker, you may have lost your chances in that particular employment. So, we'll go here and just kind of give you a little bit of history of Facebook. Facebook was created by Mark Zuckerberg. It started with a few simple ideas, mainly serving as a way to stay connected with friends in the early stages and solely used by Harvard students. Gradually became available to everyone through the population throughout the country, eventually going worldwide. Facebook's in. There were very few features on Facebook, no status updates, messages, photos, or even a platform to create a news feed. Only basic information could be accessed. Simple tool to be used by some people for limited virtual social interaction. Originally, it was you had to have a Harvard EDU email address, and we know that that no longer exists. Now everyone worldwide has access to Facebook. Facebook now is a public forum and social media tool for sharing an array of content for millions of individuals. Most frequently used as a screening tool for employers currently. Spying, or better referred to as receiving desired information about individuals. And we're all familiar with that, I presume. You know, if you want to know something about any individual, whether it's your friend, someone you hung out with recently, you're going to go on to their page. And if you don't have access to their page, then you'll go through it the back way. You'll find someone that they are friends with that you may have access to. The most effective way to connect with the universe, only an eye shot away. It truly is. You know, I'm not sure how many of you have a Twitter page as well, but you are in the hands of employers. You are literally in the hands of employers. One tweet away, one Facebook link away, one Facebook message away, you're able to access whomever you want. And that is, you know, that is one of the attributes of social media, because it can be used very positively and beneficial for us as the job seekers. And employers as well, because now they're able to seek out whom they would like to represent their company. Okay, here was just a screenshot, and it's very broad, so I'm going to get a little more specific with it, but it was done by Reckler.com, and they surveyed several hundred of employers. And when they were asked, as the employer, do you use social networking sites to screen prospective employees? Take a guess of how many employers said that they do. 75? 60? 90%. Absolutely. A whopping 91% of employers are utilizing social media to screen. That really speaks for itself. You know, it's outstanding the amount of individuals as employers that are utilizing it. And to not recognize that as a job seeker would simply be naive, you know? You really have to take these statistics and understand that this is reality. Employers, next slide, were asked during the initial phase of the hiring process, what percentage look at social networking sites? So during the initial phase, when you turn in your resume, when you send it via online, when you turn it in to the employer, what percentage of employers are taking a look at your social networking site during the initial phase, the moment that they receive your information? Take a guess.
85.
85. Not two, 47. So half. So half. If we have, 10 individuals, half of them, they're automatically taking a look at your page or your social media interaction as soon as they receive your resume. Next question. Have you ever rejected a candidate because of what you saw about them? So when employers were asked, have they ever rejected a candidate simply because of what they saw on their social networking page? Take a guess. How many? 50%? Over 50%. Absolutely. 69%, 7 out of 10 individuals are being rejected because of the information that they're putting on their social media page. It's astonishing to me to know that simply because of what I can post on my Facebook page, my profile, my avatar, the simple images that I'm putting up there, how they are being perceived is rejecting me of employment. Lastly asked, have you ever hired a candidate because of what you saw about them on a social networking site? So there are many attributes to social media as well. Guess how many employers have actually hired job seekers because of the information? 10? 68% of employers are using social media to their benefit, to look for great candidates who can represent their company. So it's there. I mean, it's definitely there for you to position, for you as a job seeker, to position yourself for an interactive resume, to reach out to the companies that you want to interact with and receive employment from it. But the bottom line is, the key is that employers are utilizing this information. They're looking at you. They're looking at all of us. Me being employed now, they're looking. You would have to presume, you would be in denial to believe that they weren't. So take one moment and just stop and think before you hit send, knowing all of this information that you know now. Employers are watching, employers are wanting to know what you're saying, they're wanting to view you, they're wanting to interview you silently before you even get your foot in the door. And knowing that they are, I ask, take 1 second, before you actually hit that send button. Because know that you're married to Facebook, you've committed to being a journalist, and these images, all of the content that you're putting out there, the videos, those are your children. They're going to follow you everywhere you go. Look at him. He's going to follow you. He's eager to get out there. He's eager to get out there because he wants to interact with the Facebook universe just like you do. So you want to stop and take a moment to realize that. And just in case you may forget, please remember that in the state of Georgia that we all love, we are employment at will in Georgia. And that is a doctrine by the American law, which simply states that any hiring is presumed to be at will. That is, the employer is free to discharge individuals for good cause or no cause at all. And the employee is equally free to quit, strike, or otherwise cease work. So meaning the employer in the state of Georgia has the right to remove your position. And it's simply up to them. It's simply up to them. So you want to be mindful of that. You want to be mindful of, having a fun weekend. We all have fun. We all want to share, and I do as well. I'm just very limited and professional with the information. And the great segue that the video that we watched was a really good segue into this, which was kind of giving you some really good do's and don'ts of how you share your information and when the information that you are sharing, how that is being perceived as well. Let's see. This takes us to our next topic, which is delete is obsolete. It simply does not exist. Once the information is on the web, it's on the web. You'd have to know that. The chances of that information ever coming down, it doesn't exist. That information is out there, which goes back to knowing that once you hit send and put it out there, this is how you are representing yourself. This is how we are representing ourselves when we hit send, because there's no take backs. This is an article that I found, and it's by Art Technology Co. And they do a lot of different technology reviews for iPads, Apple products, Facebook, things of that nature. And they did a case study here of this young lady. This was a photo that they did, and they put this photo up over 3 years ago. And this is a young lady, and obviously in a very bad place in her life. And she's in the bathroom, looks like she's kind of overdosed on some prescription medicine, she's got some alcohol there. However, it's unfortunate that she was going through a bad time, but it's severely unfortunate that someone has now taken a photo of her and placed it on a social networking site. So this photo will follow her forever because this is her child. This is her baby. It will go wherever she goes. Now, when They reached out to Facebook to try to get some closure because they've been working on this for 3 years to have this photo deleted, and it still has not been deleted. Facebook responded with, the systems that we use for our photo storage a few years ago did not always delete images from content delivery networks in a responsible period of time, even though they were immediately removed from the site. So immediately put on the site and immediately removed, and that photo is still has not been deleted. Now, Facebook, as of currently now this month, Facebook continues to say that they are still working on how to delete photos. However, at this point, it doesn't exist. And even if that photo comes down, there's two things you want to think about. One, if that photo comes down, there's always a URL link that can go to that photo to have it pulled up. And then say, for example, you have friends that are included in those photos. Well, they have pulled that photo and put it on their desktop. Now, think to yourself, how many individuals that maybe you were not friends with a year ago, or for whatever happened, you guys aren't as close. Not only do you not want them to have anything of yours, but you definitely don't want them to have an incriminating photo of you. So be mindful of what goes out there. Some stuff is better left unsaid or not shared with social media, because this here, I could imagine that it would be difficult for this individual to find employment going forward. Clean it up or clear it out, and that's simply what it means. If you are in a position, maybe not now, but you will be, where you're looking for employment, you really want to start cleaning up your page. And there's a lot of different things that you can do that. The information that you put out there, positive information. You are a journalist and you work for yourself. You work for yourself, so you represent yourself. And you're responsible for all of that content that's out there. So just clean it up. Social media does not discriminate. Employers love Facebook just like you and I. So you have to remember, as we're engaging on Facebook, so are employers, because they like it too. And not only do they enjoy Facebook, sometimes they make mistakes with it as well. However, they're the individuals who are responsible for employing us, paying us. Take a look at this next video here.
500 million people are on Facebook. Of course, it's a great way to connect and keep in touch with friends, but it could also get you fired.
Yeah, be careful out there. We are talking about losing your job over what you post out there. It happened a couple of weeks ago to a teacher in Massachusetts. We told you about this. She was fired after she called her students germ bags on her Facebook wall. But it's not just school districts that are keeping an eye out for your social networking activity. Larger companies also have their eye on their workers. There's a study by Point, the Data Protection Service. It says that 17% of companies who employ 1,000 or more people have had problems with their employees' use of social media, and 8% report actually firing someone over their social network activity that targets their workplace. So, what do you have to say about this?
So we find something about top percent local folks about their social networking habits.
It's the end of a long day. You come home, sit down on the couch, open your laptop, and maybe connect with a few friends on Facebook and make a post or two about a bad day at the office. Well, as more and more people are signing up for social networking sites like Facebook, they're doing just that. But what they're writing might be best left unsaid.
You ever post your frustrations about work on your Facebook page? Every day.
All the time. Bad day at work. Things weren't going good now.
No, I don't. Why? Because you never know who's reading your Facebook. Are you concerned that maybe your boss is reading it, maybe your coworkers are passing it along to your boss? No, not really. I'm not friends with my boss or anything, and I have my profiles set on private.
Just say I'm stuck at work and I want to go home. I never put the name of my company on there.
What's the reason you avoid putting any specific?
It's a long day and I love my job.
So, what is the proper etiquette when it comes to Facebook? Here to talk about this is social media expert Lauren Candido. Lauren, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks again for having me.
All right, so Facebook 101 seems simple enough. Don't talk bad about work on your Facebook page, isn't that right?
That's absolutely right. You want to kind of take the standpoint that anything you put out on these social sites is open content for the public to read, so you really want to be diligent about what you post.
All right, Lauren, what about photos? Because that's another big one. People put sometimes very risque photos on their pages.
They are, and a lot of times you think that you're simply posting photos from a night times those photos can do damage to not only your own reputation, but the reputation of the company you work for as well.
All right, so no jumping photos, no half-naked photos, right? Anything else you should be careful of?
You usually don't want to talk negatively about any of the products or companies you work for, any products or companies you partner with on your site. So you usually just want to be really careful about what you say.
All right, what about who you should and shouldn't be friends with? Is it okay to be friends with your teacher, your boss, your doctor? What do you recommend there?
I think it's okay to be friends with your teacher, boss, and doctor. However, I would just again be careful about the type of content that you post, or segment your friend groups to where your privacy settings show posts for one group but not another. This way you're not sharing the information across the entire web.
Because it would be incredibly awkward if your boss sends you a friend request and you just ignore it, right? That would be bad too.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be better, I think, just to pay attention to what you say.
And what about expressing your political beliefs online? Because a lot of people do that. Is that a little risky too?
That's really more of a personal kind of philosophy is how you're going to be about it. Again, you just want to make sure that you're not posting anything that you would find offensive or that anyone else would find offensive. A great rule is the golden rule. You know, do unto others or post things about others that you would be comfortable having posted about yourself.
All right, great advice for all of us, Lauren Candia. Thanks so much. We really appreciate it.
All right, the next photo we'll take a look at here. Does anyone know this young lady? No. She is actually from Georgia. She's from Barrow County. And what can you guess her profession is? Drinking, bartender. Was that it? Pardon me? Someone said it, I'm not sure who, but she is a teacher. She was a teacher who lost her employment simply from this photo here. Unfortunately, pardon me? I agree. However, pardon me? What happened honestly here was this young lady was on a vacation. She was out of the country and she was on vacation, just at a pub, you know, having fun, innocent fun. And she decided to put that photo up there on her social networking site. Now she was not friends with the principal, her boss at her school. However, other teachers were. And when they got word that these photos were up there, and presumably innocent photos, however, the principal did not want her to represent his business, his school. So he asked her to resign. So she did lose her employment over this social media photo on Facebook. This gentleman here. What profession do you think he's in? Pardon me? Bodybuilder? Doctor? Okay. He's actually a New York congressman who has decided to utilize the benefits of social media and interact with everyone and take photos of himself. Kind of does look like a bodybuilder. He's got a nice fit here. That's great. However, he was sharing that information on Craigslist, you know, seeking out other women and things of that nature, as well as his page. So he, obviously when this photo came to light, he did resign, knowing that that was his only choice. How do employers get this stuff? It's very simple how employers get this stuff. Me, you. We provide them with all of the information they ever need to know. We build the perception that we want them to see of us. How we are perceived is through the information that we put up there. They don't have to look far. It's on our Facebook page. And as we heard earlier, yes, there's ways to make your page private. However, employers are finding ways around that. And that's a lot of times because lack of security within Facebook. Friends of users' profile. You know, I've tested this case myself. You know, if I want to kind of see some photos of an individual and I can't get to their page, well then I'll see who I'm friends with. They may possibly know them. Or maybe some of their friends' pages don't have their page private. So now I'm able to see ultimately what I'm looking for. I'm able to obtain all of that information simply through just a little bit of spying. Facebook's frequent changes. Now, we are always at the mercy of Facebook. Because as you know, I'm sure you all know, you go back to your Facebook page, it's changed. 2 months later, they've done something different. A month later, they've done. So yes, continuously look at the security settings on your page. However, you're always at the mercy of social media. So you're never 100% secure unless you don't allow that information out there. Your post, their perception. I'm going to look, it's going to be 3 more photos that we'll go through, and I'm going to try and wrap this up. Are we okay on time? Yes, we're good. Okay. Can I get, please, 6 volunteers? 3 employers, 3 job seekers? Anyone? Okay. Sure. If you guys can just kind of stand up here, we're going to go over the next 3 slides very quickly. So 3. Anyone? 3 job seekers, 3 employers. We'll say this role play later. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. And we can do this will be fine. We'll go over this. Okay, so we've got job seekers over here, and you 2 are the employers, okay? So you're job seekers here. So look behind you. We'll take a look at the slide because we're going to discuss them. Okay. You are the job seeker. You are the employer. All right? I'd like for you, this is you here, okay, in the photo, we'll say, explain to this employer, because now you're sitting down at the interview, so they've already viewed your page. Can you explain, you know, why this would possibly be appropriate for Facebook? Now we have a young lady here, and she says, you know, someone had to go. Ha ha, that's funny, I guess. OMG, take this one down. Crazy old days. You're not the boss of my Facebook page, okay? So that simply says that although she's not 100% okay with that photo, you're not the boss. You can't make another person take a photo of you off of there. So you, as a job seeker, would have a hard time explaining to the employer why you have this photo up there. Wouldn't you? I mean, it would really be a compromised situation of why she should hire you after seeing this photo. Very awkward. I mean, not to mention you're on the toilet, so that's a little bit inappropriate, I would presume. I hope we would all agree. This here. Now this can relatively kind of be, you know, innocent to some degree. We have a young lady here, and she's at the beach. And then she's got her little kid who has on no clothing, you know. So again, these are your posts, their perception. As the employer, you may have a hard time understanding why this individual whom you want to work for your company is comfortable with putting photos like this of themselves out there with no security. But we know how that goes because delete is obsolete. There is no such thing. And we've already seen that. Now right here, this photo here, she's having a really fun night, you know. We've all had fun nights. We've all had fun nights. The difference between her fun night and my fun night is that I'm not posting my fun night for employers to see and judge me off of that. I don't want to be judged off of some of the things that I do for fun. And you probably don't want to either, because we're only human and we're not perfect. And no one is asking for perfect. Just be responsible, you know, understand that you guys are laughing, so is the employer when they're not hiring and they're giving that to someone else. Someone who was responsible enough and mature enough to know that that wasn't appropriate for social networking. Now we have this here. Again, we're having fun. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed, I didn't have to look far for this content because this is the same individual in each one of these photos. There's one significant individual off of this page. I'm not certain how she's going to find great employment. Right here is this here. That is marijuana in this young lady's hand. Why? Can you explain that to your employers? Why there's a photo of you on Facebook? I mean, not to mention it's illegal. You know, not to mention that it's illegal. So you, okay, now let's switch roles. Now you are the employer. Are you going to hire this individual? Do you want this individual to represent your company? I mean, they have a lot of fun, which is is okay. Yeah. Not to mention. But this is what as the job seekers, this is what we're putting out there. Because again, we stated that they're retaining all of this information from us. We're giving it to them. We're giving them how we want to be posted, how we want to be perceived. Favorable Facebook, and we're just about finishing up here. And thank you guys, you're welcome to sit down. I really appreciate it. Favorable Facebook, an eye shot away. And that simply means that there is a way to clean up your image. You're only an eye shot away of the employers. Keep that in mind. You're only an eye shot away. So once you turn that in, and 47%, we know 91% engage, but the 47% who grab your resume and they go directly onto your Facebook page, you're only an eye shot away to be perceived in a very positive manner. Customize your avatar. Just put a professional picture up there. Of course, have your privacy settings, but, professional picture, just nothing at all. Stay shy away from anything that can be presumed negatively. And you don't know that employer's background, you don't know their beliefs, so you just want to be very generic and kind of standard. Use your status updates to promote positive growth. And that is why you follow others and others follow you, because they want to see your growth in life. So use your updates to promote positive growth. So when employers go to your page, this is a very positive individual. Whether you're a student, whether you're a job seeker, whether you're employed and you're looking for a new job. You're always a job seeker at all points, because if a better opportunity comes across, you may want to entertain that. So be mindful of that. Like companies where you desire to work. This is a great tool to have an interactive resume, and like other companies where you do desire to work and kind of get information, build a relationship with them, build a very positive rapport, and that's possible. And then be yourself. No one's saying to not be yourself. Just be mature. We have to be mature, and sometimes you can forget. When you're having fun, and you don't realize everything that comes with it. You don't realize that there is a possibility that you can lose your job, or possibly never obtain the job that you're looking for. The job you want can be right at your fingertips, and through Facebook, social networking, you've compromised that. We've all compromised that if we're not being smart, about it. Lastly, that's pretty much it. Follow us on the Georgia Department of Labor. Like us on information. I currently maintain our page and manage it. So like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And we provide a lot of helpful information for you, for job seekers and employers as well. And that's it. This is my information. Again, I'm Kristen Baker. And please, call me. This is my office number. You're welcome to email me if you have any questions, any information that I can look into you further. I definitely will. So I hope you enjoyed it. Yes. Absolutely.
Now, you work for the
Georgia Department of Labor.
Okay, so you do check Facebook.